This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on ngscsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
There's been a lot of action over the last two nights in the old WWE. So I'm just trying to catch up and see it all firsthand.
I saw. Oh no, it was because you had commented on a Facebook post about good old Becky Lynch, Rebecca Lynch.
Becky Lynch. Yeah, yeah. We'll get into that later. It does involve her, and it sucks what happened.
Oh no.
But then we also had a big title change and a heel turn. And oh my goodness, I heel turn, you son of a bitch, I heel.
Heel turn. That's like a Cruyff turn, which segues us into episode 236 of the A Foreign Affair podcast. Are we going to talk about Cruyff turns? Probably not, but we'll talk about other stuff. In fact, this will be a slightly abbreviated version of the Foreign Affair podcast, and I will mention why in a moment. But first, I do want to mention that, of course, that this podcast is presented by NGSC Sports. At ngscsports.com, we never stop, as well as Alicia's Pillows and Things. Do you like the NFL? We did. And if we still did, and we wanted to get each other gifts, we could go to Alicia's Pillows and Things on Facebook and order each other ottomans and other furniture accessories that are emblazoned with NFL logos. It's pretty great. So head on over to Alicia's Pillows and Things on Facebook to check out the great deals there. So speaking of great deals, are there any great deals? No, there's probably not. So the reason I mentioned this might be an abbreviated podcast is because of the international break coming up this weekend. I've decided that this week we're going to talk about the matches, and then next week we're just going to do a big old news and notes podcast, because I don't think we're really going to talk about Wayne Rooney and his game with England.
We'll give a very quick brief synopsis. If something crazy happens, we'll talk about it. But
yeah,
I mean, it is England USA, so it is you.
Yes, we will spend the 5 minutes it deserves.
It just doesn't matter. So.
It really doesn't. So without any like Premier League action or anything else coming up here, we're just gonna do a news and notes podcast next week, because there's some big stories that have come out, including good old Brexit. Theresa May came out with her Brexit proposal kind of today, but the FA has already started thinking about how that could affect the good old Prem moving forward. So we'll definitely have news and notes like that next week when there's nothing really to talk about. So this week, it's all about the matches. We will still do Watch 4. We will still do So Raw, as you may have heard. Wes, very excited.
We finally have some So Raw news for you.
We're so excited, folks. So let's get right into the Premier League action, though, as we hit another international break. It's match week 12. And through 12 weeks, we were starting to learn just a little bit about some of these teams, such as Cardiff City. they are starting to make the comeback happen. It's 2 on the trot for them as they beat Brighton and Hove 2-1 at home, get dunked on. Lewis Dunk with the only goal for Brighton in the match, and it was a 90th minute winner from Sol Labamba coming out there for Cardiff City to give them a giant victory to try and help them climb out of the relegation zone. Leicester City and Burnley played to a 0-0 draw. It happened. We're going to move on. Newcastle with an absolutely mammoth victory against Bournemouth, who again had been playing some very good football this season. Newcastle picks up their second win of the season thanks to a brace from Solomon Rondon in the first half. Very important player for Newcastle moving forward. One of their only signings of the summer, really. Southampton and Watford played to a 1-1 draw. A Michael Gabbiadini goal in the 20th minute was cancelled by an 82nd minute goal from Jose Holabas from Watford that allowed them to get a point against a struggling Southampton side that is currently just outside of the relegation area.
And Charlie Austin was none too happy about it.
No, he was not. Oh boy. That post-game
Charlie
interview.
Austin finally said what everybody wanted someone to say.
Yeah, that's not too happy about some of the officiating in this match. Hey, VAR will save us. Huddersfield and West Ham also played to a 1-1 draw. I believe that is former Spurs great Alex Pritchard coming on for a goal in the 6th minute. West Ham leveled it up through Felipe Anderson, the Brazilian, scoring in the 74th minute for the Irons as they got a point on the road against a very, very weak Huddersfield side who could have really used all three to try and make their way to safety. And I believe that's the last match we're not really gonna talk about. You know what? Hey, we'll mention it. And this is, I guess, how we can start our transition into actually talking about matches, really. Chelsea and Everton played to a 0-0 draw.
You know, Ed, in this match, this was the first time it was revealed on this week's Men in Blazers. Mm-hmm. This was the first time Raj and Devo had attended a Premier League match together.
You know,
and as Raj said, and as would be expected, a drab 0-0.
Yeah, of course. So you have them to thank, folks. But Wes, as we do talk about this, it is one of those things where we've kind of been waiting to see from Chelsea. You know, how do they actually play when they meet up with air quotes quality competition? Because nobody's calling Everton world beaters or anything, but you know they drew Manchester United 2-2. They drew Liverpool 1-1. They beat Arsenal 3-2, and that was when they were comfortably ahead at halftime 2-0 in that match.
Well, that was also very beginning of the season before Arsenal figured out anything. So.
Absolutely. So, I mean, you look at their wins. They beat Huddersfield 3-0. They beat Newcastle 2-1 when Newcastle was still kind of struggling. Beat Bournemouth, so I guess that's kind of a good win this season. They drew West Ham. They beat Cardiff, who's been bad. They beat Southampton, who's been bad. They beat Burnley, who's been bad. And they beat Palace, who's been okay. This is a game that I feel like Chelsea, if they want to be serious, not even necessarily title contenders, but like strong top 3 contenders, I feel like this is a match that Chelsea need to win against an Everton side who has been very mediocre all season.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, you know, this is an Everton team that does have some firepower, does have some solid players. I think they've got a good manager, and he came up with a good game plan to kind of slow Chelsea down.
Sure.
When people look at the top of the Premier League table right now, you've got those 3 teams that are still unbeaten on the season. Mm-hmm. But really, when people get talking about it, everyone thinks, you know, it's still going to come down to City and Liverpool, and that Chelsea's going to come out of the pack a little bit. Mm-hmm. Chelsea's had a magnificent start to their season, especially for the situation they've been in. Chelsea, I think, are a very, very strong top 4 contender at this point. Mm-hmm. But I have to kind of agree. I do think they're gonna come back to the pack just a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, the thing is, right now, with the way the top of the table is, there's no real pack to go back to. Yeah. That leaves you outside the top 4. So But I think Liverpool and City are both a little ahead of Chelsea at this point. And I believe they are for the season. But, give it up to Chelsea. Chelsea's done a really good job. Sarri's done a really good job with what he's got. They have kind of come back to earth a little bit in the last few weeks. Mm-hmm. Hazard, God, a month ago at this time, Hazard was, oh my God, he's the greatest player in the world. Well, but the thing is, this is Eden Hazard. On his day, he is the best player in the world.
Agreed.
But the thing is, he kind of goes in and out of that kind of form.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's somewhat to be expected. And he certainly didn't have a great match and hasn't had a great last few matches. So that's kind of hindered Chelsea. And I think that as goes Hazard, goes Chelsea this season.
No, certainly. And I mean, if you look at it, he went through a streak where in 4 games against Cardiff, West Ham, Liverpool, and Southampton, he had 5 goals and an assist. And now he comes in his last 3, United, Palace, and Everton, and he has just 1 assist, and that was in the victory against Palace, but nothing against United and Everton. So it will be interesting to see how he, in the big moments, and that's not that Eden Hazard isn't a big game player, or any of that weird bullshit, but it is interesting that he has sort of feasted when he was having that big hot start. It did seem like he was having success, a lot of it coming against the bottom half of the table. Now, granted, he did score against Liverpool, which, unless you're from Red Star, that's been a really hard task this year.
Really scored twice against Liverpool, got him in the League Cup as well. So.
That's true. And he did register an assist early on against Arsenal. So it does seem like he has just tapered off a little bit here as of late, but is always a threat to pick it up again. And of course, he would be looking to pick it up after the international break, as they will be traveling to Wembley to play Tottenham. Tottenham also with a win this weekend, 1-0 against Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park. Poor boy. Oh, poor boy. It was a wet day in that part of London. Just very, very damp and moist, and Roy did not react well to it. But it was a 1/4, 66th minute winner for Tottenham off a corner set play that was able to get them the victory. Foyth heading in a rebound, picking up his first Premier League goal, first goal for Tottenham. And of course, Foyth last week against Wolves gave up 2 penalties, though not all his fault. Also a lot of the defense, especially Kieran Trippier's fault for putting him in bad positions. But that's okay, because we love a good redemption story, and Foyth fits the bill. A very good match from Tottenham. I feel like I'm becoming a broken record about this, but every week we see them getting closer and closer to that complete game. Hugo Lloris having to make a few more big stops and having some better moments. The defense having some better moments, and really, granted, this is a non-Wilfried Zaha-led Palace, and it was very bad conditions, but Tottenham really kept Palace out of the game for large chunks of it. Just about maybe 5 minutes at the beginning of the second half, and the final 4 or 5 minutes at the very end when Palace were trying for an equalizer was all Palace really had the advantage in their chances. The rest, West, was dominated by Tottenham, and you have to think maybe now this is finally where Tottenham rounds into form, and they're going to have to, as after the break, it's Chelsea and Arsenal looming, as well as some big Cup and Champions League matches.
It is, and we're obviously coming out of the break as well. We're on the precipice of the holiday season.
Yay.
Where everyone else in Europe, does the smart thing and takes a nice break and lets their guys regroup. The Premier League's like, fuck this, we're doubling down. And everybody's going to catch that test in the month of December. I mean, that's all the way up the table. Tottenham, Chelsea, Liverpool, City, all the way to the bottom where, holy shit, what could happen anymore to some of those guys?
Yeah.
But, for Tottenham, right now, Tottenham are really, they're just flying under the radar, and they're winning. They're finding their wins. They haven't had really any big marquee matches over the last month, but they've done exactly what they're supposed to do. They've gone and they've gotten their points. I mean, they haven't all been perfect matches. The Wolves match was a really fun match for a neutral to watch. Maybe a little closer for comfort than Spurs would have hoped. This one, not to take anything away from Spurs, but as we do know, Palace are a wholesale different squad when they have Zaha in.
Sure, absolutely.
Now, that said, not saying that Zaha would have won the match, because even with Zaha, they've only won 2 matches this year. So, I mean, it's not like you take Zaha out and you're losing the European champions or anything,
Sure.
but he does offer another threat. But once again for Spurs, hey, you do what's in front of you and you just take people out ruthlessly, efficiently, and that's what Spurs are doing. And if they can round into form and see what happens after this international break, because that's when the rubber's really going to meet the road for a lot of these teams.
Mm-hmm. And you want to talk about ruthless efficiency? Let's head to our next match, where it was Liverpool 2, Fulham 0. Mo Salah getting back to scoring ways, starting, just like Tottenham, maybe starting around into form a little bit with his goal in the 41st minute, and Xherdan Shaqiri getting one just a few minutes after the halftime restart. Fulham had a few chances, but their defense was just absolutely dreadful, which is going to be the story of their season, it looks like. Very unfortunate. And of course, news coming out this week that Fulham has decided to part ways with Slavica Jokanovic, their manager. Sure. Why not? And bring in former Leicester City man Claudio Ranieri. Of course, Ranieri taking the Foxes to the title just a few years ago, before falling out the next year with them.
Ed,
yes,
you know what that means.
What does that mean?
That means Sam Allardyce is still out there to take the United job.
Oh, you are so right. Well, yeah, he might have to come save them. But he won't be saving Fulham, who do, again, fall to Liverpool. Wes, it's tough for me when I watch this Liverpool and I watch the highlights and I read about it. I feel like I'm getting two different stories here, because Liverpool looked fairly impressive, again, against a fairly weak defensive team in Fulham. But all I hear is like 100 million West Bradshaw saying we shouldn't have 5, we should have had 6. And so how do you feel as a Liverpool fan coming out of this match against Fulham with, air quotes, just the 2-0 victory?
I mean, it's one of those things with this group right now. I mean, I'm over the moon every match we come out with 3 points.
Sure.
And nobody dies.
That's why they call you West Positive Bradshaw.
Exactly. I'm not just positive. I'm very positive.
Yes.
That's right. Where did you? I know where you thought I was.
I love that.
I was about to go there, but I figured I'd hold it back.
Thank you.
Next time, don't be sorry.
We can only have so many Rick Fox incidents.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, one a month.
Yeah.
But you know what? And really what makes me feel positive about a performance like this is the fact that we still know that there is such a higher ceiling for this Liverpool club.
Mm-hmm.
But yet they're winning.
Mm-hmm.
They're right. I mean, they're within striking distance of City if City should falter. And we're right there, and we have not come anywhere near our top form. Where a Manchester City has kind of hit their form. They're playing extremely well at the moment. And at the end of the day, they're only 2 up on us because we keep finding ways to win matches. Yeah. Now, that said, it's not like we really had to squeak it by Fulham here. Fulham played well in the first half. Mm-hmm. Had a couple of chances to score, didn't. And then our first goal actually came on an offside Mitrovic goal. Mm-hmm. In which Alisson basically they started a clock from the moment that ball went in the net and it was ruled offside. 13 seconds later, we had the ball in the back of the net. Wow. Alisson quickly took it, passed over to the right side. I believe it was Trent. Trent took a couple dribbles, released Salah going down the right side, and Salah went and beat him 1-on-1. And that's the speed and that's the terror that Liverpool can inflict on opponents. Because when they do get it and they do turn it on just for a moment, bam, what are you going to do?
Yeah.
I mean, there are very few people who can run with Mo Salah. The goalkeeper, Alisson, coming out, the quick pass to get the ball moving. And it was a great kind of counter strike goal in the moment. The Shaqiri goal was fantastic. If his name had been Ronaldo, it would have been replayed 10 billion times. I mean, he took it over top on a volley and buried it. It was a great goal.
Absolutely.
Great goal. Shaqiri has now either scored or assisted in 5 of his last 6 matches. Damn, all the money we spent on midfielders this summer, and it's the cheap one who suddenly is coming really good. And Ed, I would like to, I do like to point every now. How long have I wanted Xherdan Shaqiri at Liverpool?
So I think since we've been doing this podcast.
Even before that, I think ever since you and I have actually been watching soccer together.
There you go. Yeah.
I was like, man, I would really like, hey, we got a chance. There's a river we're going to get Xherdan Shaqiri. I would love that. That guy's going to be great for us. And, then he goes to Inter, and then he goes to Stoke. And I'm like, well, I guess we're never going to see Shaqiri at Liverpool. And then he finally ends up there. A bunch of people are throwing a damn conniption, even if he wasn't doing as good as he did. He costs 13 million pounds. Who gives a shit? Yeah. And instead, he's 13 million pounds, and we've got a guy who right now is pushing. And I mean, I don't know how you can keep him out of the starting lineup right now.
And really, that's the best version of Xherdan Shaqiri, and really what you're hoping for Liverpool, especially when the top 3 trio has been struggling somewhat, is having this sort of spark plug that you can fit in, and that's something I talked about when we were doing our preseason preview that we did, I think 5 days before the season started. Shaqiri is someone who has always been very flashy, and it's the big moments that he'll have every once in a while that make you go, oh my God, that's one of the best goals I've ever seen in my life. And sometimes it takes a guy like that to get the rest of the offense going. And that's what Shaqiri is doing when he is at his best. That's what I think he can do for this Liverpool club. And it's hopefully maybe that's what he's starting to do and get that offense matching what the defense has been doing for most of the season so far.
Well, and also when you look at Shaqiri, he's starting to do some of the things. I believe we talked about it. Maybe was it last week? Liverpool still have this Philippe Coutinho-sized hole in their squad.
Sure. Yes.
When it comes to a creative midfielder who gets other guys involved and can do things and can spring that front free. And Shaqiri, while maybe not quite at the level of what Coutinho was doing, because of course we saw Coutinho do it for such a long time and is such an important member of that squad, but he's starting to fill some of that role. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if we were expecting him to come in and really take that mantle, but that's what he's doing. He's creating, he's playing that creative midfield position. And I think it's what Jurgen Klopp was hoping that Adam Lallana could do.
Yeah.
But instead, he's getting an Xherdan Shaqiri.
Well, he's fitting into a new role, and playmaking midfielder is something just about every team could use this season. Arsenal probably included in that as we head over to the Emirates, where they had a dicey 1-1 draw against Wolves. Wolves providing, again, a tough task for a lot of clubs in this league as they are up in their premier season in the league. Ivan Caballero with the goal in the 13th minute that sent Wolves into raptures, and really thought they were going to see this game all the way through, but Henrik Mkhitaryan had other ideas as his goal in the 86th minute silenced the away supporters and gave Arsenal a much-needed points to try and keep pace with the 4 teams above them in the table. Wes, all we heard for months was, Arsenal, they're hot, they're firing on all cylinders, they're doing great, they're on this amazing unbeaten streak, and hey, they still are. But they've gone from winning, I'm going to count here real quick, that's 7 in a row in the Premier League, to now they've drawn 3 straight. Palace, Liverpool, and Wolves. 2 of those maybe not so bad. But they also had a draw in the Europa League in this past week. So I feel like we kind of ran into this, I want to say a year or 2 ago with Manchester United when, yeah, okay, they're not losing and they're making those like runs to unbeaten records, but they're not winning a lot of games anymore. And at a certain point, especially with, Tottenham hasn't been great this season, but has still been racking up points, as we said. And, with Chelsea, Liverpool, and City just winning, these draws are really tough, especially when you have them at home.
It is. And for Arsenal, it was a nice run where they were playing teams who just weren't ready for them, couldn't play with them. But now suddenly they're starting to hit some teams who are a little more closer to that level. And when we say that, I tell you, you got to give a shit ton of credit to Wolves.
Yeah, absolutely.
They said after that game, I mean, who, 12 months ago, who would have said that Wolves would be disappointed going to the Emirates and only coming out with a point?
Nobody.
And they were disappointed.
And they should be. They should have won that game.
I mean, they should have won, and they had it. But even still taking the point, they're disappointed, and that shows that I believe Wolves are a team to definitely contend with this season. And they, depending on what they can do going forward, we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy, man. But I mean, I say all the respect in the world to Wolves, and for Arsenal. I heard a great stat today. This one will blow you away.
Quick stats.
There are 2 teams in the Premier League who have not had the lead at halftime the entire season. One is Cardiff. Okay, no doubt. The other is Arsenal. They have not led a match and a half all season.
Wait.
Yep.
Wait, let me look at this one because that doesn't.
I didn't say they haven't been tied.
Right. No. I understand.
Right. And really, when you look at it, their second half to first half goals. I mean, they are definitely a team that turns it on in the second half. They don't score many first half goals. And while you look that up, I'll just keep talking. But we're seeing some of that mental fortitude in Arsenal, and even though they didn't come back and win this match, they came back and they did get a draw from a really game Wolves squad.
Sure.
So can't really take anything away from Arsenal in this match, and really right now when you go and ask, I mean, I find it hard. I think there have been some really good coaching jobs in the Premier League this year, but I find it hard to say that Unai Emery may not be the manager of the year at this junction of the season.
Yeah, I would like to see, and it just so happens they play each other next week. I would love to see Arsenal versus Bournemouth. Not that I think it decides it in my mind, but when I look at what Unai Emery has done, and maybe this actually helps your case, I look at his team that he inherited, and that team is pretty loaded. Maybe not defensively, but they have a lot of attacking talent. And so I think he has more to work with than Eddie Howe and Bournemouth. And right now they're right beside each other in the table. And again, they're playing this weekend. I don't know. That would be really tough. It would either be him, Howe.
And of course, one of the reasons I have that too is, the expectation for Arsenal this year. Now, I mean, not to take anything away from Bournemouth, but the expectation for Arsenal was just not to be anywhere in the position they're in right now.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
I mean, if you had told us in right now in August, if you would have flipped the point total of Man United and Arsenal, I don't think anyone on God's green earth would have argued with you.
Yeah.
I know we wouldn't be like, oh, yeah. Okay, United's 4th and Arsenal's whatever the hell they are, 8th,
yeah,
13th, whatever. But I don't think anyone would have balked at that idea one bit, and just to see what they're doing. And basically, like you said, Unai Emery, yes, he did inherit a team, but he inherited a team that was full of underachievers.
Sure, absolutely.
Was full of soft, mentally weak players. And, he added a few, but he's taken a lot of that same team because he didn't get the huge funds to go out and spend this summer. He's gone and taken a team that he inherited that was a team, and a team that massively underachieved, maybe underachieved, but definitely weren't one of the top teams in the Premier League, and has turned them into a legitimate top 4 candidate in a year where no one expected that to happen.
Sure. Okay. I can get behind that. Hey. So that brings us to our final match of the Premier League weekend, and it was the Manchester Derby, which proved it was gonna be big. It was gonna be hype. United was starting to play with some swagger, and they were having these big comebacks, and it was, oh man, it was so good. And then David Silva scored in the 12th minute, and you're like, oh well, that's probably game. Sergio Aguero scored 3 minutes after halftime to put City comfortably ahead 2-0, or so we thought, until Anthony Martial scored a penalty in the 58th minute. And then you think, well, game on. This is what United's been doing for the last month and a half. They've been giving up these leads, and they've been storming right back into contention. Unfortunately, City just a little too good. They shut them down. Ilkay Gundogan puts it away in the 86th to give City the 3-1 win in the derby. And Wes, this is one of those things when you're United and you keep playing with fire. Eventually, you're not going to be able to make the comeback happen. And again, City, great team. A lot of teams are going to fall behind City 2-0. But Josie has to start figuring out how to not fall behind in every match they play.
Seriously, I mean, oh man. And really, I'm going to tell you, 3-1 at the end of the day really flattered Manchester United.
Yeah.
They were fucking annihilated in this match. I almost want to say the stat I heard was that when City scored that opening goal, they had completed, I believe, somewhere in the area of 80 passes to that point of the game.
Sounds about right.
United had completed 6.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And I mean, that's how they did. The third goal for City was a movement that included 44 passes.
Yeah.
Now let's not get this twisted. Those numbers can be misconstrued because City are a team built in the image of Pep Guardiola. They do pass the ball around a lot. So they're going to have better passing numbers than their opponents. It's just how they play. But United, oh man, it's almost like Mourinho just, instead of going out and trying to prove that he has a good team, Mourinho wants to keep putting out teams so that if they inevitably fail, he can just turn around and say, well, I told you, my team's just not good enough. And it's like, okay, Pogba didn't play. We understand. You leave Alexis Sanchez on the bench.
Pogba not only didn't play, Pogba didn't make the 18.
No. Well, he was hurt. He was hurt.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Stupid thing. I don't even know what it just said. It's because I said the Sanchez's name.
Yeah.
But Pogba injured. But Mourinho made the statement, and this has got to be disheartening for United fans because this just shows what kind of football he's trying to play right now. He made a statement how disappointed he was that he had to start Fellaini. And you're like, well, yeah, I'd be disappointed to start Fellaini too. But the reason is because right now Mourinho's master plan, the grand plan of the genius, is basically, I mean, he's, we joked earlier about Sam Allardyce taking over at United. What would the difference be?
Not much. Not with the way they're playing right now. I
mean, right now, Manchester United's game plan is keep it level for 70 and bring on Fellaini and start chucking balls into the box. God, there's just it gets papered over when they win a few matches, and a lot of the media starts getting, they're turning it around. This Manchester United team has, to me, they show a severe lack of ambition with their club. This is a team that right now, just to kind of put a bow on it, and not even this match, right now they're talking about Ashley Young's about to get a bumper new contract. Ashley Young is 33 years old. He also wants, quote, guarantees about playing time.
Okay.
Ashley Young is a 33-year-old converted winger that is playing right back. Why? I mean, why? And don't get me wrong, Ashley Young is a solid, usable. I mean, he's an England international for what that's worth sometimes. I mean, he's a solid right back.
Hmm?
But I mean, you're Manchester United. Are you going to give a contract and not only that, but playing guarantees to Ashley freaking Young?
I hope not.
Oh my God!
I mean, I hope so, but
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to for him too. But the thing is, I mean, that's just United right now.
Yeah.
And you look at the other side of Manchester, and you've got City who are investing in their, they're going after it. They're going for gusto, and then you've got United who the Glazers. Oh man, the Glazer family. They're not pumping the money back into United that they could. Now, I'm not saying they don't spend money because they do, but at the same time, basically, if Pep Guardiola gives his football director a list of 3 players that he wants for a position, they're going all out for the number 1 player on. They're going all out for him. And if they fall short, well, you know what? Then we'll go for the second guy. But usually they're willing to go above and beyond and not fall short of the first guy. Mourinho's handing in a list of 3 guys for a position, and they're like, all right, well, who's 4 and 5? Because we're not paying this, and we're not paying this, and we're not paying this. And don't get it wrong. I mean, the Glazers have the money. They've got the money. United have the commercial money. The money's there for them to go out and do something, but they're just, right now, to me, the Glazer family, they are so content with the fact that they're just making bucket loads of money every year with this Premier League team. That with Alex Ferguson gone, this is a team to me that just does not, does not put the emphasis on excellence that they used to. And part of it's because I think Alex Ferguson had such a big person that he was such the man that the Glazers would have been, tarred, feathered, and run out of England had they not at least done mostly what Ferguson wanted. Where Mourinho doesn't have that oomph. Van Gaal didn't have that oomph. There's not that cult of personality behind those guys. Now, don't get me wrong, Josie is his own cult of personality, but he's not like Alex Ferguson. And I just think that United as an organization, not so much Mourinho, because I don't think what I'm talking about is really on Mourinho.
Sure.
But I just think the club in general is like, well, you know what? As long as we keep making Champions League and we're making our money, hopefully we win trophies. That'd be nice. But it's not the be-all, end-all that it was under Sir Alex.
Yeah.
And I just think that's permeated down. And this is, they were talking about during the week, when you do a combined 11, does anybody from United get into a combined 11 with City? I don't see where they do. Maybe you can, just based on talent, maybe you can put Pogba in there.
Yeah.
But as good as that midfield has been for City this year, Pogba ain't getting into it right now.
I think up until about the World Cup started, I think there would have been an argument for De Gea over Ederson. Like, I think you could make that argument. I don't know if you could make it right now.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But, once again with the loss, Mourinho's right back on. Oh, my God, he might be on. He's right back on that hot seat because, losing to that team makes it very difficult. But you know what? He's going to turn around now. He's got Liverpool coming up in December. It's not going to get easier for United going forward.
Not at all. And I think, just one thing looking at, when I look at the lineups for this match and putting aside Pogba, because it's Pogba, the last 3 transfer windows, their biggest signings, again, outside of Pogba, in each one, I would argue were Fred, Alexis Sanchez, and Lukaku. And all 3 of them started on the bench against City.
Yeah.
I don't. Now again, if Fred is your biggest signing, that's probably a problem in and of itself. But
Well, that's it. Don't forget. Everybody was after Fred.
That's true. I never understood why, but that's me. He's fine, I guess.
He's such a Fred.
Yes, he is. Did we forget when he was with Brazil?
Really? He's a Fred. Well, I think that was a different Fred.
It doesn't matter. They're all Freds.
They're all Freds. All those Freds, they're just Freds.
But yeah, again, Sanchez was the big signing of January, and he's, basically trying to get himself out of town as fast as possible. Lukaku, we kept saying, oh, well, this flat track bully eventually, with United, he'll get that service and he's going to come really good, and he's not starting against the best team in the league. I don't know.
Well, I mean, but once again, he doesn't perform against the best teams in the league. So,
but I think we all thought. I think we all thought like, okay, once he gets out of Everton and starts getting midfielders that can get him the sort of service that then he's going to turn it on, and he didn't.
Well, I mean, I guess that more just proves the point of what he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he is a really good striker, but he's not elite like everyone wanted him to. He's just not.
It's disappointing.
Sucks for him.
Yeah, so glad Harry Kane beat him a couple years ago for the Golden Boot. That would have been a travesty.
But that said, Harry Kane's a one-year wonder.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. A travesty in its own right.
Yeah, going on year 5 is a one-year wonder. So
he's so bad.
Just take it every year, right?
Yeah, just every year. Hey, he can keep being a one-year wonder every year. I'm fine.
You know what? Next year he's falling off.
There you go. One day we'll be right. So as we look ahead past the international break, again, in match week 13, the big match, of course, will be Tottenham versus Chelsea, 12:30 on that Saturday, November 24th. After you've had your Thursday and you didn't die during Black Friday, you can watch this match.
Congratulations!
Yay! And then on Sunday, you get Arsenal versus Bournemouth at 8:30. So if you want to wake up a little early and check that one out, again, that's a very big clash in the middle upper table bracket. As we look at the table now, Man City still sit on top with 32 points. Trying, I think, to again have their goal differential eclipse their points, and it's very close, shockingly close. Liverpool, though, still just 2 points back and 1 million goals, but again, 2 points back. That's the big number. 2 points back in the table. Chelsea 2 points back of Liverpool. Tottenham 1 point back of Chelsea. So if Tottenham do manage to find a victory against Chelsea when they come out of the break, they will be in at least third place. I don't think they can make up the goal differential in Liverpool to get to second, even if in a Liverpool loss. But hey, it's there. Arsenal are 3 points back at Tottenham in fifth place, and Bournemouth are 4 points back of Arsenal in sixth, with Watford and United level in points with them. At the bottom of your heart, the relegation zone, Southampton sit just outside in a trio of teams with 8. Crystal Palace right above them. Cardiff in 18th, right below them with 8 points. Huddersfield have 7 and are 19th. And again, Fulham, who've made their managerial change, first one to do so this year, they are sitting on 5 points. 1 win, 2 draws. So that's going to do it for our Premier League talk for the week. And as mentioned earlier in the pod, we are saving the news and notes for next week, again, which includes things like Frank Ribery being the asshole we always knew him to be. Things go from bad to worse for Bayern Munich. But again, saving that for next week. That's a tease. We don't usually tease things.
14-year-old French prostitutes agree with you.
Oh, God. That's... I actually don't want to know what that's from. I can make guesses, but I'm not going to speculate on this podcast. With that, Wes, let's hit the watch for. What are you watching in the week that was, or the week that will be, when you haven't been getting caught up on the WWE?
When I have not been getting jiggy with this.
There you go.
Dude, everything ended this week and last week for me.
No.
My big 3 shows, 3 of my big 4, I'll put it that way. 3 of my Fab 4 have ended.
Oh no.
Mayans ended last week, season 1. Oh my God. The last 2 episodes were fantastic. Setting up a fantastic, crazy, awesome season 2 coming. It's Always Sunny finished.
I read an article about that end.
It was amazing.
Oh my.
The end was amazing. It was like the most poignant, I think it was the most poignant, amazing moment of the entire
That's what I heard and read.
Of the entire series, the 13-year run at this point. I mean, it was just like, it was actually moving and wasn't normal. It's Always Sunny, disturbing and horribly undertoned. I mean, it was. Oh my God! It was magnificent. It was the battle that was raging inside, the storm that was raging inside of Mac, trying to deal with his homosexuality. It was incredible, actually, and actually somewhat moved me.
Yeah.
And not just to the bowel movement that It's Always Sunny usually moves.
Oh no, I heard it got to a lot of people.
Wow, I mean, it was really something. Oh my God, American Horror Story ended tonight, which means I haven't seen it yet. So actually, when we get done, I'm going to watch the season finale of American Horror Story.
Well, Wes, I'm gonna spoil it for you here. Billy Eichner has just tweeted, and he's throwing spoilers out. And because I read it, I got to share it on to you. Was not expecting that fierce Nancy Pelosi cameo on AHS, but that was fantastic. Thanks for watching. So there you go, spoiled it for you.
Jesus Christ! I can only hope that Nancy dies a fiery death.
Here's the crazy thing: I don't know if he's kidding or not.
Well, can you tell if I'm kidding or not?
No, I can't, really.
I'm not really.
Shocking.
She can go with most members of Congress. So I've got to check the end of that. SEAL Team's still going strong. Yeah, that's one of those CBS shows. So they're going to get a 20-episode season. Everything else I love only gets 10 episodes.
Yeah.
But that said, that gives me a lot of time to catch up on my DVR.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to start watching the new Magnum PI.
Oh, yeah.
I think I've got like 2 seasons of Shooter. I've got the entire season of The Purge.
Oh, God.
So I've got lots to watch. I'm disappointed I'm losing what I'm losing at the moment, but I've still got to watch. So, no real complaints from me. Oh, and I saw A Star Is Born, the movie.
Oh, the Lady Gaga Bradley Cooper vehicle.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, dude! I said it a few years ago when she basically starred on an entire season of Horror Story. Dude, Lady Gaga is like the greatest thing of all time.
She's really good.
Everyone just needs to realize that and know that she is like, Donald Trump may be the president, but Gaga rules America.
It's true.
I mean, she is. Wow, she's magnificent. I really like that. Third remake of this movie or something.
Yes.
But
I think Bette Midler was in one of them. I don't know.
I don't know. I didn't. Apparently, there's one from the 50s and 70s, and now this one. So. But I really enjoyed it. It was good. It seemed like for a while it was running long, but it's like it's running long, but it wasn't like it's just a hurry up and end. It is a long movie though. It's about 2. It's just under 2.5 hours.
Well, I got news for you about the next Avengers movie.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll let you say that in a minute. But just to throw it out, the music is fantastic in it, as you would expect with Lady Gaga. And Bradley Cooper, not bad at all in the singing role. So, yeah, good movie. Good movie. I like it.
Well, like I mentioned, just real quick, I did see a article that they did an interview. I don't remember who it was with on the team, but basically saying right now the cut is right around 3 hours for Avengers.
But the thing is, the last one was 3 hours. So I mean,
was it? Or was it? Well, I thought it was like 240 something.
Well, still, I mean, it was longer than shit.
Oh, it was super long. But I mean, we're really pushing it now. Oh man, 3 hours. That's gonna be nuts.
Well, I think too. They said the new Aquaman movie was going to be like 2.5 plus.
Wait, what? Why?
Because DC.
I don't need that much Jason Momoa in my life. I love Jason Momoa, but I don't need that much in my life.
It is. It's just DC being DC.
It's a very attractive man. What else?
Oh God, he basically looks like Roman Reigns.
He could be better Roman Reigns.
I'm not gonna lie. The first time I saw him in a commercial, I was like, "Holy shit, Roman Reigns at a TV show!" It's like, "Oh no, who the hell's this guy?"
Roman. They should bring in Jason Momoa to do like the time travel arc of the WWE.
They could do a twin cop movie.
There you go. Also, real quick, want to give a shout out to League of Legends. Normally I talk about like the game and all that stuff. Big shout out to their music team who created KDA, the Korean pop band in game, who came out with the song Pop Stars. That is now the #1 digital song in the world. And I don't understand why. I mean, I like the song, but it's not good. So whoever is buying that song the most of everybody in the world, good for you. Like, wow. Lastly, for my Watch 4, and again, this is all stuff going in the future. Wes, we have a date.
We do?
We do.
Yes.
We do. And it's...
Dinner, or a movie?
How about 1 month, 26 days, 21 hours, and 38 minutes from now? What are you doing?
I don't know. Why don't you tell me what I'm going to be doing?
You are going to be heading to New York. To one of the boroughs, in fact. To a little precinct. Called the 99! Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
As long as I can watch it on TV and don't have to literally go.
No, yeah, exactly. You go there in your mind. January 10th, the Brooklyn Nine-Nine is back on the air on the new home on NBC with the first episode of the season entitled Honeymoon. As we remember when we last left off, Jake and Amy had just gotten married. Captain Holt we were about to find out if he became, the new, what was the position?
Deputy something,
deputy
chief.
Like big police chief over the whole precinct division thing.
He wasn't up for wasn't it like deputy commissioner?
No, maybe it was commissioner. Maybe it was new commissioner.
Was it commissioner? Maybe I can't remember. It was a big one though.
Doesn't matter. We're gonna find out. I hope when we come back to the 9-9. So again, that is January 10th. I'm already looking very excited towards that. But speaking of things we've had to wait a long time for, Wes, it's finally gotten good again. Let's get into the So Raw.
Well, I hate to say, I didn't say it's gotten good.
Oh,
I just said it got interesting.
Oh, that's what I thought. Never mind.
Well, no, that said, there is some good stuff, and unfortunately, the biggest story is what was going to be the biggest thing, and we got screwed out of it. Okay, so Survivor Series is this Sunday. Mm-hmm. I just realized that on Monday.
Sweet.
Sorry.
Oh, that's right, because of the whole NXT versus WWE thing. With League of Legends, Tyler won, I'm a cutie pie. They're going to fight it out. Go.
Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about, but okay.
About it.
Yeah, cool. But what we've got is WWE Survivor Series. Of course, the whole Roman Reigns thing. Brock Lesnar won the last title. We talked about that a week or two ago. He is set to face the SmackDown champion, which going into Tuesday night was AJ Styles. But Ed, we had a title change on SmackDown, world title change, and it was everybody's favorite underdog, Daniel Bryan, winning the title back.
Yes.
But Ed, he did it underhandedly, and we now have a Daniel Bryan heel turn.
Oh my God.
A low blow to AJ Styles while the ref was looking. Daniel Bryan is your WWE champion. I'm very interested to see where this is going now. That means that Daniel Bryan's going to face Sunday at SummerSlam, which means all we can do is kind of hold our breaths for 10 minutes while that match goes on and just pray to God that Brock doesn't accidentally drop him on his head. Mm-hmm. Because, it's one thing for him to drop 6'8", 380-pound Braun Strowman on his head. So don't kill Daniel Bryan, please. We don't ask much. Just don't kill Daniel Bryan.
Agreed.
Because I think a Daniel Bryan heel run as the champion on SmackDown could be phenomenal. People forget, because Daniel Bryan's been this babyface now for 5 years. People forget how damn good he was as a heel. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he was good, and now he's got like this chip on his shoulder that he can play that game. And a Bryan versus Styles with Bryan as a heel, that could be a really, really cool program. So I'm really looking forward to that happening. But as big as that is, the biggest story of the week has occurred in the women's division, where once again, Survivor Series, you're set for champion versus champion from each show fighting each other, which I don't really care for, but whatever. I think that's what should be maybe somewhere else. But anyway, that's what they do in Survivor Series now, apparently. So we were all set for a Becky Lynch, Ronda Rousey women's match. Now, we haven't touched on it much lately, but Becky Lynch is like the most over female in WWE right now. Since her heel turn against Charlotte, she has adopted this mantra of being the man. She is the man, and that's what they're calling her. The whole thing she's been doing. She's like super cocky, super arrogant, but she's like kind of badass at the same time. And everybody's eating it up. I mean, she is over like Rover. It is big time. So on Monday night, getting ready for Survivor Series, the SmackDown women invaded Raw and basically laid waste to the entire Raw roster. Becky Lynch was going to be facing Ronda Rousey. Saw Becky put her in an armbar and have Rousey screaming, and Rousey never got her comeuppance against Becky Lynch. But then what happened was, after that happened, she left her laying in the back. Becky Lynch comes out to the ring where the entire Raw women's roster's out there. And then, as Becky's coming to the ring, everybody's paying attention to her. By the way, the crowd going berserk for her. The SmackDown women hit the ring, and we start a good old brawl. We get these every now and then. Well, unfortunately, early in the brawl, Nia Jax hit Becky Lynch with a forearm directly to her nose.
Oh, God.
And it wasn't a working forearm. She crushed her, broke her nose, busted her face wide open. That said, for the next 4 or 5 minutes, the brawl continued. Becky Lynch was like this bleeding mess. But it was absolutely amazing to see, because she still went out there. She was still kicking ass. On her way out of the ring, she was standing at the top of the steps, going into the crowd, with the spotlight on her, her arms outstretched, blood just streaming out of her face. And she looked like maybe the biggest badass I've ever seen in the women's division. That moment had 1998 written all over it. Becky Lynch right now, to me, is a mixture of Roddy Piper and Steve Austin back in the day. I mean, she's just like this. It's like, I don't give a shit if you cheer for me or not. I'm a little crazy and I'm a badass. Mm-hmm. And, they're trying to as, the babyface Ronda Rousey, versus bad Becky Lynch. But the thing is, everybody's cheering for Becky Lynch.
Oh, of course.
But here's our problem. Broken nose and a concussion. She is out of SummerSlam.
You mean
Survivor Series? Or Survivor Series, whatever. They all start with S's. Thank you for being the big fan and correcting me.
No problem.
So she's out of Survivor Series, so we're not going to get Rousey versus Becky Lynch, which right now I think was maybe the most highly anticipated match on the card.
Yeah.
So that sucks. We're going to get Charlotte versus Ronda Rousey now. Charlotte fill in, and don't get me wrong, man, that's going to be good. That's going to be a good match. But right now, Becky Lynch was just so hot, and this persona, this character she's doing is so good that people were so into it. And now we're going to lose her for this monster showdown, and that sucks. That said, rumor is they're going to stretch it out now, and we're going to get Becky versus Ronda at WrestleMania. So, I mean, that's what's up. But, to it right now. And the thing is, you just got to hope that it will hold the heat, that it'll hold it for, God, WrestleMania's not going to be till April. So, you got to stretch this thing out for about 6 months now. So we'll see what happens. The match I'm most looking forward to at SummerSlam, U.S. title versus Intercontinental title, Seth Rollins versus Nakamura. Oh. Which, if they will let that go the way it should go, that definitely has the chance to be match of the night.
Dick punching.
So it'll be interesting. So, but that's about all I got this week for. There was some big stories, just a really unfortunate one for the women's division.
It's not too bad then. At least things are happening, things are moving, even if they're moving backwards a little bit. And I'm sure we can trust WWE to handle a stretched out plot line very.
Oh yeah, they're so good at that kind of stuff.
Very well. Just like how we can handle this podcast. But unfortunately, this podcast is quickly coming to a close. Once again, though, we are presented by NGSC Sports. NGSCsports.com, We Never Stop, as well as Alicia's Pillows and Things. You can find them on Facebook and Twitter. As a collective, we're also on Twitter. We're at AFA Pod. Wes, you are?
I'm at Wes Bradshaw 21.
I am at Edward Green. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube via our parent show, The All New Sports Show. You can also email us at that address, allnewsportshow@gmail.com. Big thanks to our podcast providers, including Podbean.com, Stitcher, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, the TuneIn Radio app, Google Play Music Store, and iTunes Podcasts. We will be back next week, as I mentioned, with another episode. This one will be 5 minutes of USA versus England in a friendly, because Wayne Rooney's playing in it or something with his hair plugs, and then we're doing a bunch of news and notes, and it'll be a whole lot of fun as we hit some really big stories that have come out in the past week, and I'm sure some that will come out in the week to come. So that's going to do it for episode 236 of the AFA podcast. But before we leave, Wes, anything else you'd like to add?
It's his high school playoff season.
Yes, finally there.
It's finally there, and unfortunately, the hopes of my Rocky Mount Griffons have dealt a harsh blow this week.
Oh God, yes.
As our Division I corner / playmaker Shaheem Battle is out for the season. His career is over as a Griffon, broken wrist. He will be matriculating on to North Carolina State University. Good luck to him. Early predictions. Well, Tarver is going to win.
Yeah.
Southwest Edgecombe, very good. They can make a very deep run. Southern Nash, if they can figure out a way past the second round, it's going to be tough, but they should get at least to the third round. And man, they've got the best running back duo in the state, so we'll see what they can do.
Mm-hmm.
And Bedingfield's there. Yeehaw!
Yay!
Did you happen to hear about Hunt Fike?
No. What happened?
So after their game, which it looked like Fike was going to qualify in the playoffs, after their game in the handshake line a couple of weeks ago, they decided to get into a brawl.
Oh.
And I'm talking a full-on brawl. I'm talking pepper spray had to be sprayed to stop the fighting. And it was not just players, it was coaches as well. Oh. So after that, both teams' seasons were effectively canceled at that moment. Both still had a makeup game to play, which they forfeited, and they were both withdrawn from playoff consideration, and were both forced to pay a fine to the state.
Wow.
Yeah. Wilson County, yippee.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it was pretty big time. So, so this year really only 5 teams from our, 6, include North Edgecombe as well, which I did.
I noticed some people said that.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, my bad. I really paying attention to y'all this year. But, I mean, we had 2 1A teams, 2 2A teams, and 2 3A teams. That was it. No Nash Central, Northern Nash. No fight, no hunt. So, one of those years, man. One of those years.
It's not too great.
Well, yeah. Well, hey, we saw some good ball this year. Our Southwest won last week.
That's true. Hey, and they'll probably still win a title. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was by far the toughest game Tarver was going to play all year. And they still won 35-14.
Yeah.
Against a bigger school than them. So.
It's insane.
Anyway.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, and just to throw out, I'll have you know, today was the opening of National Signing Day for high school sports.
Oh.
Mostly not your non-football, mostly your baseballs were able to sign today, your basketballs, those sports. So I know big day for our good friend baseball Britt Johnson.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the Appalachian State Mountaineers.
Absolutely. So best of luck to Baseball Brit and the Mountaineers, and we'll be very looking forward to them as they start up in a couple months from now. We'll be right back out onto the diamond. But we have plenty of Premier League action to get to before then, and we'll be covering the news and notes next week, like I mentioned a few minutes ago. So, for my call in crime, Wes Bradshaw, I am Edward Green. Thank you so much for joining us here on the A Foreign Affair podcast. We'll catch you all next week. Until then, stay safe and enjoy the football.
Good night, America. Because you guys play England. You get to see Wayne Rooney one more time. Wazza.
So why did I don't understand why, like, people, because I haven't seen actually anybody say they have a problem with him playing. I just hear people saying people shouldn't have a problem with him playing.
Apparently a lot of the English press, and not even so much the press, but more like former.
This show is sponsored by Alicia's Pillows and Things. Check out the Facebook page, Alicia's Pillows and Things, where you will find home decor you will not be able to resist at prices anybody can afford. Check out the pillows and stools of your favorite sports teams. Maybe you want a set of your kid's favorite cartoon or movie character. You can also get full body and neck pillows as well. Log on to ngscsports.com and go to the Alicia's Pillows and Things tab on the homepage to complete your order. It makes a great gift for Christmas at an affordable price. NGSC Sports. We never stop.
You're listening to NGSC Sports Radio. Hear us live on NGSCsports.com, where you can get awesome analysis for all things sport. Or check out our podcasts on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, iTunes, TuneIn, and much more. For our latest videos, head to NGSC Sports YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter at NGSC Sports and like us on Facebook. NGSC Sports. We never stop.